An introductory exploration of the Fort Sill post facilities by Private Wilson and other members of the SEM-C2 class was in order. The liberation of the city of Lawton was set aside for a latter perspective. The Post-Service Club provided a full spectrum of programming: ping pong, pool, snooker tables, music room with piano, and most encouraging, bounteously populated by post-WAC citizenry. The California Soldier allotting interest with several respective class constituents after classroom hours, enlisting the skill of Paul White to introduce him to the game of chess. White's father was purported to be a past Pennsylvania state champion chess player, and Paul purported to be a chip off the old block. Gary's desire to explore the game was reinforced with his introduction to White and his sense of logic. Given ample edification, Gary soon discovered, administering a game of chess is like his engaging music on the piano, playing by ear and intuition. Contemplation is retrospective. Another ensuing discovery within walking distance, a journey to the post library. Not to partake of the bountiful shelves of accumulated knowledge, the soldier discovering a hidden treasure, a music rooms equipped with phonographs, headsets and a thesaurus of LP records, enabling the youth to escape the presence of the military and transport himself to the world of Wagner, Beethoven, and Tchaikovsky. The student acknowledging a course of study, commencing with basic math through algebraic exponents, their relationship to electrical applications and Ohm's law, in concurrence with terminology and function, the subject material more engaging than arduous. The class finding a lighter side to electrical circuitry, besides resistors, capacitors, diodes, and pentodes. The age-old parable of how to discern a resistor's size by its color-coded markings was ensued. Each color denoted a numerical value and multiplier, and by using a memorable verse, the first letter of each word in the verse designating a color and value 0 through 9. The acronymic coloring verse "Bad boys rape our young girls but Violet gives willingly," translated into the colors, black, brown, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, gray, and white was very efficacious, covering the chromatic as well as the intonate spectrum, and not soon forgotten. The soldiers soon learned, if an explanation or inquiry about a subject matter was needed, it best be immediately resolved, or it would remain a question. The instruction, as well as the instructors, took no prisoners. There was a apportioned sense of attainment among the class, finding those who could reason and assimilate, assisting those who pondered. Gary's anticipation being fulfilled with the inaugural of every educational chapter, a learning experience, the presentation of the subject matter likened to an adventure story, always striving for a climactic ending. It was called Firepower Demonstrations, held on Saturday mornings, and you were to attend, or so you were led to believe. Gary's first experience was encountering a NCO walking through the billets early Saturday morning, directing those he came into contact with to report outside and board a bus. Once aboard, the unsuspected were informed they would be attending a firepower demonstration on the West Artillery Range. The number of military seated on the bleacher facing the West Range was in the hundreds, plus a contingency of others in civilian clothing. It was announced over the PA, the unit designation of the artillery firing battery units participating. The firepower demonstrators were artillery units consisting of 155 mm 8-inch and the 280 mm artillery monster, commonly called the atomic cannon. Gary, having never witnessed the sound of artillery up close, let alone able to see the results, What really surprised him was the pressure repercussion of the out-of-sight 8-inch guns, not knowing exactly where they were located, but when fired, the ground shook. It was rather disappointing. The 280mm was fired just one time, but what was impressive, you could actually see the projectile and watch its trajectory as traversed to its far mountain destination. He discovered later, it wasn't mandatory to make yourself available to attend, especially if you happened to be an early arrival at the service club for Saturday morning coffee and donuts. The educational discipline of the SEM-C2 classroom instruction was advancing with applied principles, including audio, visual, signal generation, transponder telemetry, servo generation, and three-phase attribution. The subjects were labyrinthine in essence. The military students, having converged upon the in-depth intrinsic ingredients of missile components, and adjunct support equipment, their operation, reason, and purpose of meaning, the subject matter all being empowered. Seriousness was not always captive during class. Youthfulness would vacillate and sometimes deviate, causing a prankish impulse to prevail. Relinquishing a fully charged 250-volt microfarad capacitor on a workbench at the end of the day, for some unsuspecting clean-up person to remove, resulted in a sternly administered class reprimand. The class's facetious conclusion about the clean-up person was, "It must have been a shocking experience." The months of progress manifested, and SEM-C2 sojourned further into the reaches of the Byzantine structure and missile acquisition. But the missile entity was elusive. The exiled classroom instruction was concluding, and the transition from paradigm to reality was fast approaching. To address the corporal,